Hey guys, welcome to the light stand. Yes, we are back. We are back in action. Thank you for bearing with us through this pause that we went through, man. It was quite the ride this year. It is 4 days. We're 4 days away from the new year, and we put this comeback on prayer. We didn't want to start the pod again without making sure that it was from God, without making sure that we had His okay, and that it's something that He wanted us to do. So I'm not gonna bore you guys to death with the details, man. But so as you know, let me give you guys some context here. The last episode that we recorded, I want to say, was in February. And then we had to take a pause because Nat had some health things come up that, required her full attention. And we didn't want to have the pressure of, continue to keep putting out content and recording and finding people to interview and things like that. Or not interview, but, have them on as guests. And family always comes first. No matter what, bar none, period. So we decided to put a pause on the light stand. Dealt with, everything that went through and everything. And it just, stayed in the back burner for a little bit. And the more time passed, the more I was like, God, is this something that you want us to keep doing? Because if you know us, we don't say yes unless God is in it. We live by that, man. We stand by that. God, if you're not there, I don't want it. If you're not going to be there, I don't want to go. That includes anything. That's literally everything in our home, in our life. Buying a home. God, if this is a home from you, let it happen. If it's not from you, we don't want it. If this is a house that you're sending us, let's go. If it's not, I don't want it. If this is a vehicle you want for us, let's do it. If not, reject the application or whatever. Jobs, how some opportunities came up professionally, and prayed on it during the application. God, if this is something that is going to be a blessing for us, let's do it. I ask for your favor as we're interviewing, as I'm going through this, as I'm going through that. Because if it's from you, it's going to happen. And if it's not from you, God, I don't want it. Even if it's more money, even if it's more opportunity, even if it's more whatever to us, to me, it's not worth it if God's not there, right? So we applied that to the podcast too. It's, hey, God, we kind of gave it all, all we had. I think we recorded 34 or 35 episodes so far. And we gave it all. We started it for marriage, for those of you that know the story. If not, listen to the first couple episodes and it says why we started this. And it's like, okay, we gave it all for the intended target that we had, which was couples, marriages, families. That's what we felt that God was calling us to help. And that was kind of it, So long story short, fast forward to just last month, to be honest. So in November 2024, God, I'm putting it in. I'm still in prayer with it because it was unsettled in my heart. Like, do we do it? Do we not do it? Do we do it? Do we not do it? Praying. God starts sending little signs here and there. I'm not going to tell you which ones. That's between me and God. Signs nonetheless. But me, being hard-headed art the way I am sometimes, I was like, God, no, I need something specific, man. I need crystal clear sign, like crystal clear message. I need to hear your voice. I need you to show up. I need you to send an angel like you sent to Mary to talk to me in my plain English language to say, this is what I want. Like, I was asking pretty extraordinary prayer, like something huge. And I got it. Reading the Bible. During a fast, there was a person at church that confirmed that God was like, you need to be obedient to what I told you to do, because it's going to come to pass. And I was like, okay, but what exactly do you want me to be obedient in? Like, I'm always going to say yes to God, right? And this is a conversation between me and God. I'm like, it's a yes for you, always. I'm never going to say no. But what is it that you want me to do? What am I supposed to be obedient in? Show me. So started fasting, praying, whatever. And long story short, he shows me through his word, crystal clear, capital crystal, capital clear. So we said, okay, let's do it. And we're back, guys. We are back. We appreciate, for those of you that follow us on Instagram, thank you for all your feedback, man. That was super awesome to have the level of engagement that we had with just that one question. Who's excited for some more episodes, or who's looking forward for some more episodes? Forgot exactly how we worded it. And the feedback that we got and the love that we got from you guys was awesome. And then when we asked for what kind of topics do you want to hear, you guys really just tore the roof off, man. And we have multiple topics for days. So one thing is for sure is that we're going to give it our all, because we're never going to, if it's for God, it has to have excellence. We're going to prepare. We're going to research, how we do, how we roll on the light stand. More importantly, man, more than ever, more than anything is we want to be the light in the dark. And if you're listening to this and if you stuck around with us this long, we believe that you believe the same. You want to be light in the dark. God has a special place in your heart to be light in the darkness. And as you can see with the world going darker and darker, it seems, they need people like you. The world needs people like you guys, people that are listening right now. We need to shine the light of Jesus, man, in this world. So this episode, guys, is really just an announcement that we're back, that we're on it, that we heard, that we saw what you guys want to listen to. We are absolutely preparing, researching, to give you guys top quality content. And this episode is just going to be some lessons learned in 2024. So just started writing some things down, nothing in a specific order, just kind of wrote these down as they came to mind. So first lesson is that God's promises are never empty. If he does it once, he'll do it again. Referencing to healing Natalie. Romans 8:28, all things work together for those who love God and those who are called according to his purpose. God's promises are never empty. Lesson learned. He called us to start this pod, and while we put it on hold, and to be very blunt, brutally honest, we even considered stopping it altogether. But he said no. He said keep going. And there's a reason for it. So we're excited to see what that is. Second lesson learned is kind of a twofer. It's kind of like point 1 and point 2. A lesson that we learned is just because it's family doesn't mean that you owe forgiveness. Some, and I underline the word some wounds require distance, not reconciliation. And that's another lesson learned this year is forgiveness does not mean reconciliation. This is a separate, I've been thinking about this one a lot, and it's actually going to be its own separate episode, just simply titled Forgiveness. What it's about, what Jesus called us to do with it as far as forgiving people. What he meant when, the guy asked Jesus, how many times am I supposed to forgive this guy? And he says 70 times 7. We're going to dive into all that specifically. But just to stay on track here, family doesn't necessarily mean reconcile. You can forgive and keep distance. We don't have to be buddy-buddy. We don't have to be, holding pinkies, skipping down a rainbow road to the park. Forgiveness is, I hold nothing against you, and I choose to not frequent you for the safety of my family and for ourselves or whatever. That's another episode. I wrote here, you have the right and the obligation to protect yourself and your loved ones. Second point, forgiveness is about freeing your heart from resentment, not about repairing relationships that can harm you or your family. It says distance makes you wise, not cold and unloving. And no one can tell you different. You can genuinely forgive and choose peace over closeness. Healing, boundaries, well-being come first, no matter who it is. Let me repeat that. Healing, boundaries, and well-being come first, no matter who. No matter who it is. Luke 17:3. Pay attention to yourselves. If your brother sins, rebuke him. And if he repents, forgive him. Matthew 5:44. Love your enemies and pray for those who persecute you. Again, just a lesson learned. More context might be given. Definitely not specifics. We're not going to throw anyone under the bus. We're not going to talk about names or nothing. Just a general lesson learned. Yes, you can forgive and choose to keep distance. Another lesson learned, be willing to let go and let God. So, and I have multiple examples there. The first one I just talked about for the podcast. We were willing to let it go and let God do what he does. And God did what he do. And he told us to start. And now we're here sitting, recording with you. I didn't even mean that to rhyme, dude. It just did. That was cool. Job promotion. So back to professional opportunities. I work at a Fortune 500 company. Blessed to absolutely be there. I'm only there by the grace of God. There's people way smarter than me, way more educated with degrees on their wall and everything. I'm little old me, man. And I'm only there because of the grace of God. I recognize it. An opportunity came up with a significant increase. And it's something that I wasn't looking for. I'm very happy and was very happy with the current position that I had. It was amazing. It was great. But this opportunity came up and I said, hey, why not shoot the shot? I already don't have that position, so I lose nothing in trying out. So as I apply, I pray, God, if it's going to be a blessing and if it's something from you, let's do it. If it's not from you, God, I don't want it. So I'm going to do my part and I'm going to try my hardest, but I'm going to leave the results up to you. And if the answer is no, I will accept it, and I would rather have the no from God than the yes of man. So I left it at that. It was almost a 3-month wait process. And long story short, they called me with the good news that I was selected for it. And I was like, okay, God, I just looked up to heaven and I smiled, man. I was like, okay, God, this means that it's from you, and I have peace with that. Because what's the point in making more money if it's not from God? More than likely, it's not going to last, or it's not going to be secure or whatever. But when you leave it with God, you're in good hands. So that was that. Ministry. Oh man, this one was super interesting. So over this year, a little bit of last year and this year. So for those of you that don't know me, don't know like a lot of my personal life, I am a worship leader at my church. They actually put my wife and I in charge of our campus worship team. So this is year one and a half that we have that. And there have recently we have started to see several changes in the church. We'll just leave it at that. And the enemy comes in and is kind of like trying to plant some doubt. And there was a specific person that asked me, what would you do if they took that spot away from you? And I said, I would look up at the sky and I would say, God, thank you for the time that you blessed me to do what I did for you. Because again, if you know my personal life, the only reason I'm up there, the only reason I said yes to that, the only reason I said yes to worship, period, to sing to God, is because he healed my wife from cancer. Miraculous testimony. Flat out, she had it and then she didn't. No one can deny it. We have the doctor paperwork to prove it. She was healed by God, by the Holy Spirit. 0 surgery, 0 radiation, none of that junk. He healed her, which is why I said yes to singing to him. Then a couple years later, we were asked to take over for the leaders of the worship team there at that specific campus. So this person is like, well, what would you do if you just come to Sunday morning one time and they pull you aside and say, hey, you're no longer the leader? And I told them, I would look up at the sky and I would say, God, thank you. Thank you for the time that that you allowed me to lead here. I hope that I did a good job in your eyes. Because guess what, man? It's not my ministry. It's God's ministry. I was just there to kind of help, the best way I could, to love on people, to care about people, to celebrate them, to be there for them, to pray for them, to do life with them, just to, I don't know, pour into their life in some way, somehow. That's what we love to do. If you know us on a personal level, you know that that's the type of people we are, man. We love hanging out with people. We love doing life with people. We love sharing just life. We love people in general. We're people, and we love just helping and pouring in. So it's not my ministry, man. It's God's ministry. He can give and he can take as he pleases. And I would never, as God is my witness, I would never complain. I would never see it as a negative. It's like, God, I'm only there because of you. So whenever you want to take me away and my time is up, I will trust that my mission was complete. Because in order for us to even say yes to that leader position, we prayed. We prayed for almost 3 weeks, and I felt I got an answer, but then I was like, Holy Spirit, I'm not going to answer this. I'm not going to tell the pastor yet until you talk to Nat first. So I had my yes, but I was waiting for the Holy Spirit to tell Nat yes. Because if I felt like it was a yes, but Holy Spirit told Nat no, guess what? I'm going off of feeling and not confirmation. So we waited. We waited for both of us to get a yes. And then finally Nat's like, hey, you know what? Holy Spirit said yes to take over. And I said, okay, yeah, me too. And that's when I made the phone call, and that's when we said, yes, we accept. So that's where we stand on that. Lesson learned. Be willing to let go and let God. Another opportunity came up. Side gig, as you guys know me, I'm a very ambitious person. if it's in our best interest, I am open to opportunities. Who says no to extra money if it's going to be a blessing and it's not going to interfere with work and home life and things like that. So if it's green flag, green flag, green flag, green flag, I'm all ears. And if it's a good opportunity, let's do it, right? So opportunity number one comes. I'm not going to say names or nothing. Just opportunity number one comes. I try my hardest and I wasn't picked. No problem. Same prayer. God, if it's from you, let's do it. If not, I don't want it. Opportunity number two comes through. And they offer, trying to percent here, 40% more than opportunity number one. And that one I was picked. So don't hang on to something that you want so bad, because sometimes God's plans are bigger and better and more of a blessing than what you thought. Sometimes God has something better for you. And again, if he says no, that's not necessarily a bad thing. It's just that he has something better for you. Are you willing to let it go and let him, though? Another lesson, parenting. Parenting, specifically teenagers. As you know, we have teenage boys. And one of them just turned 18. The other one turns 17 in a few months. Oh my word, it is not easy by any stretch of the imagination. It is way harder than we ever anticipated. So for those of you that have little ones in diapers and the quote, air quotes, terrible twos. I hate when people say, oh, it's the terrible twos. It's like you keep speaking that, like there's power of life and death in the tongue, guys. You keep saying that they're terrible and you continue to get that, and then you wonder why you get that. Anyhow, call it the wonderful twos, man. Plus you're the parent. Like you get to, be involved in that behavior. But anyhow, side note, parenting teenagers, it is very challenging. And, chances are if you're listening to this, you were a teenager at one point and you remember how you were. I remember how I was. There's attitudes, man. There's, mood swings. There's hormones. There's ups and downs all the time. One day you pick them up from school and, everything is great. They're smiling, hunky-dory, they're talkative. The next day you pick them up and it's dead silence. You can hear an ant fart, it is, and it's okay. I'm not, so there's a lot of, learning there, reactions, how, dealing with, hey, I need you to do this. And then the way they react, sometimes it's not, the most favorable. And you got to just learn to, navigate through that. More than anything, lesson learned with the parenting teenagers is listening. Really listening. Are you listening to respond or are you listening to understand? It's never a match of who can get the quickest answer in. It's never a match of if you can outsmart your teen, nothing like that. Are you trying to really understand where they're coming from? Are you really trying to understand their point of view? Are you really trying to understand how they feel about certain things? My goodness, I feel like I'm not perfect, but I feel like I became a way better listener this year than I've ever been, because for you to be hearing certain things and having the strength to keep your mouth shut and not interrupt and not put in your 2 cents and not say, yeah, but this is what I think. Let me tell you guys, I'm going to pray. If you need prayer or you're about to have a teenager, you're a couple years away, months away, whatever, or you're in it, shoot us a DM, man, and we will pray for you. Now, don't get me wrong. There's a lot of positive in that too. Again, remember, this is called lessons learned, and this is what I have learned on a personal level. Nat can share her own things. Another lesson learned. Therapy is great. Therapy, professional therapy is awesome. No, therapy is not just for crazy people or people that, the world would label as crazy. Therapy is fantastic. In my opinion, almost everybody needs therapy because let's face it, the majority of us were not raised in super stable, healthy, emotionally mature homes, especially in the Hispanic community. Parents forcing their opinion. Y ya, y lo que dije, y punto, y and you're like, but that, no. It's what I said and period. You have nothing else to say. Go to your room or whatever. Like they don't listen. They shut you out. Let me say what I have to say, and I don't care what you have to say. Go to your room. I don't know, whatever. A lot of but you fill in the blank there. Therapy is great. CR. I found an awesome group of dudes in Celebrate Recovery. And I started learning a lot about myself in Celebrate Recovery. It's a great program. Started by Saddleback Church, Rick Warren. You guys can do your own research there, but it is fantastic. You learn a lot about yourself. You heal a lot of things that you didn't even know you needed healing from. So highly, highly recommend in person or through Zoom. Mine was through Zoom. Most of the dudes were in California. Nonetheless, super great content, great lessons, great steps to recovery of anything. So really good stuff. Another lesson learned: patience. Having patience when waiting for God's answer. Oh, the multiple confirmations. So this is back to the podcast. Sometimes, guys, when you ask God for something, He's not going to answer you right away. Sometimes you have to wait. Sometimes you don't have to wait too long, and sometimes you have to wait a long time. Nonetheless, waiting to see what He says is always best than doing it on your own. Trust me. When God told Moses to speak to the rock to get water from it so that the Israelites can drink from when they were in the desert after they escaped Egypt, Moses did not listen. Moses trusted more in his staff, which he kept doing miracle stuff with. He hit the rock with the staff. Did water come out of the rock? Yes, it did, because God was not about to let his boy down. However, God did call him out on it. He was like, I told you to speak to the rock and you hit it with your staff. And because of this, you're not going to see the promised land. That's another thing. You guys can read Exodus, excuse me, and check it out for your own. Listen to God, man. Listen to God. Lesson learned. Listen to God. Listen for his instruction and for his steps. Sometimes his answer is wait. And that's not a bad thing. Sure, you can do it on your own. But if the person who had 5 loaves of bread and a couple of fish tried to feed the 5,000 on his own with just what he had, chances are he would not have fed not even 10 people. Yet God fed all the 5,000 and there was leftovers. Just saying. Lesson learned. Be grateful for the little things. Guys, you know me. For those of you that know me, I'm huge on gratitude. And there's so much to be grateful for, man. So much to be grateful for. The fact that you can see, the fact that you can hear, the fact that you have working legs and working arms and you can jump and you can run and you can do push-ups and you can just walk around. That in itself is such a blessing. The fact that you can breathe, the fact that you're not on your deathbed right now. The fact that you have healthy children, the fact that you have a roof over your head, the fact that you have AC and heating, the fact that you have a job, the fact that you live here in the United States or wherever you live. Because chances are, if you're listening to this, I just saw 33 countries. We have listeners. That is insane. Thank you, whoever you are. Give us a follow on Instagram, _lightstand. It would be awesome to get to know some of you guys. Not in the US. I know we have several in Mexico, in Canada, in Colombia. That's mind-boggling. Some in Europe. I don't have all the countries on the top of my head, but man, be grateful, guys. Always give thanks. Always give thanks. Always, always, always be thankful. Gratitude goes a long way with God. And the last one that I wrote down. Just because you were put in a air quotes leader position doesn't make you a leader. I'm going to repeat that. Just because you were put in a air quotes leader position doesn't make you a leader. That's all I'm going to say there. That's another episode that we're going to do. Yeah. And one of you guys asked for a leadership specific episode, so we're going to do that for sure. But yeah, you might think you're a leader. You know what? Lesson learned. So good stuff. Let me just say this. Check the fruit on the tree. Check the fruit on the tree. If you don't like the fruit, chances are it didn't come from a nice tree. And that's all I will say on that lesson learned. That's it for this one, guys. Just wanted to be super short, or as short as possible, and just share some lessons learned with you guys. Again, not in any specific order, just as things were coming up in my head, I just started jotting them down and sharing with you guys, some things that we have learned. And yeah, there are many, many episodes to come. Last year we focused a lot on marriage, but this time there's going to be way more different topics. We'll probably touch on marriage here and there, but this one's going to be more, let's just call it different, but a good different. And please don't be afraid to reach out to us and ask for, a topic to touch on, because we are the light stand. We are not afraid of any taboo topic or controversial topic, as crazy as it may seem. We will chat about it. We believe in God, and we believe that His blessing is over this podcast, and we believe that His hand and His protection are over us. And there's nothing that we will touch, as long as it's with good intention. Don't ask for something crazy, trying to get us in trouble, because even if I don't catch it, which we have, and especially Nat, she has an amazing radar for BS. But even if it slips my radar, I'm not that good. God's watching, man. God's watching. So anyhow, guys, we are back. We are going to close 2024 with this episode. There's already an episode cooking. It's going to drop on the 4th of January. It's the first episode of the year. And stick around. It's going to get good. Love you guys. God bless you. And we will see you soon. Take care.